incredible. You got your hands are full.
My hands are full.
Now I'm solo. I had a co-founder for a bit, like half the journey. And now it's me and the team.
Crazy.
Yeah. If we're missing our number, yes, it's on them, but also it's on me because I have to manage their performance.
What's up, Jake? How's it going?
Doing good.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm excited to be back on the Unordinaries pod. Today, I'm here with Jake Cronin. Jake is the co-founder and CEO of Siro, an AI conversation intelligence platform on a mission to make in-person sales the most coached, most data-driven, most upwardly mobile career path in the world. Every day, millions of the highest stakes conversations in businesses, closing a kitchen remodel, walking a prospect through an apartment tour, pitching a med spa membership, all happen face-to-face and then vanish completely. No transcript, no record, no way to learn from what actually worked. Siro fixes that. Reps record the conversation on their phone, and AI transcribes scores and coaches against it, turning what used to be a black box into a searchable, improvable system. Jake's own obsession with the craft started at 18, choosing 15 pop Cutco knife appointments over a minimum wage job at Hershey Park. And the insight behind Siro was born a year later when he tried to coach a team of 20 reps he genuinely couldn't see. Now backed by $75 million and partnered with the likes of Salesforce and ServiceTitan, Jake is betting that the future of sales isn't remote. It's giving the field the same visibility the desk has always had. Jake, I'm really excited for this conversation because we're in the process of building out our SDR team today of 7 people remotely distributed all over the United States. So we have 7 sales directors. We're building 7 SDRs, and then we're going to build an SMB team also remotely distributed. So internally, like, we're figuring out the best way to manage remote, and this couldn't have come at a more perfect time. Well, thank you for joining us.
The backstory is funny. I have to tailor to different audiences, but I guess this is general audience. There are chapters. There was the Cutco knives chapter. It's like the seed of the idea. There was learning how to build software chapter when I started building software for people at Cutco for fun. There was then working as a consultant chapter, which was kind of the idea brewing, still kind of hacking on this thing on the side. And then starting the company, which was first building software for this world of in-person sales, a world that I believed at the time and still believe is like way underestimated by at least most of my peer groups throughout that journey. People at McKinsey, my friends didn't know that in-person sales happened. My tech friends, my engineering friends didn't know that people actually sold stuff in person. Yeah. So it's like, oh, building software for in-person sales. It's like over Zoom? It's like, no, like in person, like face to face, like med devices, real estate. We're talking home improvement. And there was this journey of like 6 months when I first set out with a co-founder to build software for the in-person sales world with really the idea that this space is massive. I know that there's huge potential for kind of people to find success because the success I saw at Cutco, where I was making more money per month selling kitchen knives than I later made at McKinsey, there's so much opportunity for personal success, but a lot of people in in-person sales roles don't realize that type of success. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to build software for this massive world where there's a lot of potential to lift people up. I don't know exactly what we're going to build. Yeah. So we started with like kind of a CRM product, like a fat finger friendly version, a configurable tool. We played with some gamification tools, some like data enrichment tools.
Sure.
And the one thing that finally got some real traction, and these were all Figma prototypes, by the way, was like some of the best advice I ever got when building a company early on is don't code first, you got to sell it first. And my co-founder and I are both engineers, so we wanted to get on the keys, but it was like, no, wait, do not start coding until you have a customer, which was mind-blowing to me at the time. But we finally got someone to sign up and pay for our sort of our idea at the time, which was just record your in-person conversation, and we will transcribe it, flag the key moments, and help you coach on it remotely.
Sure.
Signed up for it. We said, okay, we'll give it to you in 4 months. And then we were off to the races. So that's a little bit of the founding story. It's kind of skipping over the first couple of chapters. But really there's like that 6 months of like pivoting.
All right, sweet. Let's start with Cutco and then we'll go back into Siro. Did you always want to be an entrepreneur?
I think I did. But I say it hesitantly because I wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I think in my mind, it was always like, this is like one, almost embarrassing. Cause I almost feel like it's like very arrogant to be like, I'm going to be the person who's going to start a company.
Did you grow up in an entrepreneurial family?
No, my parents were in medicine, and like business was like very far from, it was just like, okay, medicine is a career path or engineering.
Sure.
And it's like, those are the two things that I was quite familiar with. And I was like very much in academia, moving in the engineering paths, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, stumbled into software engineering sort of a little later in the game.
How long were you at Cutco, and walk me through the evolution of your role at the company?
It seems like it was a long time. It was truly about 2 years, or sorry, even less. It was really about 2 intense summers with some time in between and the stuff after. And I still am placing orders every once in a while. It's like an old customer's like, hey, got a new home, like want new knives, or like, wedding gift. And I have to like figure out what my password is again and log in, order them.
Are the knives that high quality?
They are fantastic. They are fantastic knives. I still
Sponsored
buy
by
them
Cutco.
myself. Yeah, I still buy them myself. First summer was selling, and I decided to sell these kitchen knives instead of going to Hershey Park, which like there's really 2 options if you're trying to make money as a kid in Hershey.
So you grew up in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Hershey, Pennsylvania, where they have the chocolate world, the amusement park, Hershey's chocolate, and I decided I actually would like to work more part-time, have more flexibility, don't have to go like into Hershey Park at 5 a.m. every morning. Like, sounds great. Let me do this part-time thing. Started doing it. It was really freaking hard. It was not fun at all, but my family sort of like pushed me. It's like, oh, you have to give this thing a real shot. And my manager like really was leaning in to like get me over like the activation energy to make my first couple of calls, like really get your first sale, give it a real shot. And
How much of Cutco is calling versus in person showing up?
it is, you call to book an appointment that you then close.
Got it.
in
So
person.
there's no like in the movies where you just knock on the door, hey, here's knives, and
That's highly discouraged selling knives. A lot of our customers are selling, or especially our original customer base is selling textbooks, pest control, alarms, solar, door to door. Cutco, which a lot of people think is door to door, is actually more of the referral network marketing. So you're calling your old teacher, your neighbor, your old soccer coach, which is super embarrassing. It's like, well, I'm this like 18-year-old. I got your number from my mom's phone book, and I'm reading the script to try and book an appointment with you to sell you kitchen knives. So like a lot of fear, and getting over that was huge growth for me. And I think it is for a lot of people.
Was there a training program for Cutco to get started?
Yes, they have like I think it's an incredible training program. It's 3 days. I think now it's 2 days for some people. For us, it was 3 days. And you learn everything about the job, the pay, like the commission structure, the product, and how to sell all in those 3 days.
So some of the best team members I've come across are those that come from a military background or have a former military background. And we were having a conversation at work a few days ago where we were just like dissecting other profiles of everyone. There's so many people that could be great, that are great, but like there's a few personas that I've experienced, that I've seen, that have a higher chance of being exceptional. One is military, and I feel like another one is former athletes. Like they have consistency of waking up early every morning and committing to the craft for several years. And someone brought up door-to-door sales as like someone that grew up doing door-to-door sales when they didn't want to, but they needed to. And I'm curious to get your take as a potential profile.
I agree. I mean, I think the commonality that I draw when I think about that same thing, and I agree with those personas, were you able to delay your gratification and do a lot of crappy things that you didn't want to do to achieve what you've decided is your end goal?
Yeah.
That might be a month down the line, 3 months down the line, 6 months, 12 months. You're a professional athlete. You did a lot of hard things to get there, a lot of not fun things, went through a lot of failure. Military, a lot of work to get to, have a successful career. And then door to door, it's a really freaking hard job. Like you're just getting embarrassed time and time again. And all these times of like, why am I even doing this? Remind yourself of the why. And you've sort of have built that muscle. And then a lot of folks then saw success on the other side, which then reinforces, I can get through the hard things and then get to success. And then that helps you the next time around get through the hard thing, get to success.
So post Cutco, you led a team of 20 at Cutco. Was that when the idea started to take form?
Not even, no, not at all. At that point, I was in the first half of college and like just starting to play around with software. And my future was, I think at that point, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. And the idea for the original app that whatever then turned into the idea to start a company and then build Siro probably came a year later.
Got it. Walk me through like when you had the idea, how'd you meet your co-founder, and how'd you go 0 to 1?
Yeah, it's a funny story. The idea came when it's a little bit of an aside, but I was studying abroad in China. I did a few semesters abroad in China studying Mandarin. And
what was Shozak?
Oh,
how's your Chinese?
不错，可是以前比现在好。
Nice.
It's gotten very choppy. I used to be like very good, and then I think 5 years ago started dropping off. And I did tutoring up until about 2 years ago, and then now it's dropped off. But I used to like feel quite at home in China. But my first summer there, I was in an immersion program. No one spoke anything but Mandarin, and I wasn't allowed to speak English. And I had no friends really in the program, and I was with a live-in family. So it was like, and my live-in family didn't speak any English. So I was quite lonely. And so I would fill my odd hours with building software, learning how to build apps. I was like, I should build something that's like interesting and useful. What if I build software for Cutco? Because I remember when I was there, all the problems I had. I know some people who are there, all these problems, managing your team, making sure people are doing activity, like placing their calls, seeing what their conversions are. So that's where the idea to build that app, which is called Knife Life, sort of right on the nose. And I was sort of building that in the side for probably about 4 years until Siro started. So
you were building it on the side, were people using it at Cutco?
Yes, a few, and I wasn't charging for it. It was like truly just like a for fun project. And I like built an iOS app, and then I wanted to learn React Native, so I like rebuilt it in React Native. Then I wanted to learn how to use this different database, so I'd build a new database. It was just like a canvas to like experiment on. And then later when I was in consulting, I was working at McKinsey. One day I was like, you know what, I actually think this idea could go big. So I was tweaking it, and finally I started getting some decent usage and was like, I might be able to turn this into something that people pay for, which was a mind-blowing realization for me. This is sort of where I met my co-founder. I took about a month off of work. I was like, I'm gonna go all in on this thing. I said, okay, well, let's check out my app on the App Store, see how it looks, search it on the App Store, and right underneath my app, I see another app that looks like super similar. I'm like, what's going on here? But it's like, you know what? This market is too small. Like Cutco, if you had the entire company on this platform, you'd get like 300, 400K in revenue. It's like, that is too small of a pie for more than one company. So I reached out to him, a lot of like get to know you conversations. And then we decided to team up, monetize the thing. And it turned into like, it started like taking off pretty well. And the growth was such that.
What year did you found the company?
Founded in 2020. And it was kind of like December 2019, January 2020 that we started monetizing the app. And then when COVID hit, March 2020, all of Cutco went super remote. This app became critical and everyone started transferring onto it. And so we're seeing the revenue numbers go up. My buddy...
So for those that don't know what Siro is, walk me through what Siro was that first year versus what it is today.
Yeah, Siro, which that was like the precursor app. So like for the founding story, it's like, well, you don't have to start with the master idea, I guess, is one of my learnings. We started with something Knife Life and then Q, which was very different. What Siro turned into about a year later was an app with a record button to record an in-person conversation. And then you would stop, we would send it to a third party to transcribe it, turn it into text. And in addition to turning it into text, would flag key moments. So using things like semantic similarity or mostly regex, like Control F or like, all lowercase, does it match this word? To figure out, did the salesperson, at what point did they talk about price? At what point did they hit this objection? Did they remember to do this part of the process? And that's what the product was. It would give you a transcript with the audio and also kind of segment it out into chapters. So it's very, very simple. I mean, we built it in a couple of months, pre-AI coding tools as well.
And today, how does it look?
And now it's, for anyone who uses a meeting note taker like Gong
Sure.
or Granola, it's akin to that in a lot of ways. We're primarily a mobile app, but also web, and you can record audio, or you can upload audio or into your phone calls, whatever. We capture the audio. And then in real time, while it's recorded now, so no longer asynchronously, in real time, you can ask questions about what's going on. Maybe like mid-conversation, you like forgot a detail. It's like, shoot, when I walked in, they told me their dog's name, and now I forget what's their dog's name. You can like ask that question. Or even smarter, what we'll do in the app is we'll actually proactively send pings in the app inform you of like what a closing plan would be, or a potential misunderstanding where like you should ask this clarifying question. So when you get a moment mid-conversation, you can like get a check for tips.
So you have some amazing logos, Service Titan, Salesforce. What is the average profile of the individual using it? Is it SDRs? Is it all the way to the top? Are they using it in conjunction with another note taker, or is this like the knowledge base that powers the entire sales function?
Yeah, I say, so we're building an AI platform for in-person sales. Our customer is a business who has a large in-person sales team. So primarily people with in-person sales teams. We don't really serve software companies.
Sure.
We could, we use it ourselves, but that's not our target audience. The business buys it, gets all of their team on it. And Siro is the note taker and the coach for the sales rep. For the manager, this is your way to enforce your process. It's like if you're an SDR manager as an equivalent, it's like, are people following the process? How good is Johnny, our new SDR, doing? What's separating our top SDR or our top sales rep from the rest? So you can sort of do performance management from a distance at scale as a manager. And then for the executive, this is giving you visibility across your business in the process, but also like you have ChatGPT on top of every single customer conversation. So we've got customers with thousands of sales reps. They're doing hundreds of thousands of customer interactions on a week or in a month. And your customers are telling you all this information. They're telling you what product they want from you versus what you have. They're reacting to your price. They're telling you about your competition. And there's historically no way to mine that
where's
stuff.
the mic? Is it on your phone? How does it look?
Most people record through the app.
Got it.
So your iPhone, your tablet, or you could put on some sort of wearable. I'm pretty anti-wearables right now. I think we have a few years before the adoption curve catches up such that it's mass market.
I just replaced my ring with my Oura ring with a non-Oura ring.
Oh, and I guess I will clarify. I've got two wearables on right now. I like my Oura ring. I like my Apple Watch. As far as getting the masses of the country, every walk of life to record, I don't think we're at a place yet where it's mainstream to record with a applaud pin or something like that.
So in practice, I'll give you two examples for our company. So we have a group of former leasing agents that are door knocking at apartment communities throughout the United States. And our goal is to grow that over time, but we have a lot of cause for concern when we have no one else in that territory besides them. And we want to enforce how they're doing on a site level. We actually had a call 2 weeks ago when someone left, dropped off our care package. That property manager called us. They're like, hey, I want to let you know they came in with a really bad attitude. And we're like, oh my God, like we would have, like, how would we have ever known that? They could have been working for us for weeks, months. And they're really the reflection of our brand in the wild. And it kind of gave us pause. We paused hiring for that position. And also as we build out this SDR position, the profile of the individual is 1 to 3 years out of college. And yes, like they'll spend 50% of their time behind a computer, but they'll spend 50% of the time in person and also at conferences and 100 to 150 regional events. And most of the times they're going by themselves. And we really need them to be a reflection of the brand, because if 25% of people show up or 25% of interactions are negative interaction, I mean, that spreads. So I mean, in practice, like how do you guys solve for that? Like,
yeah, that's
do
the
I
perfect
say,
use case.
hey, like this should be the interaction? Like what's the onboarding timeline? Like, is this something we can pilot tomorrow with a group of a few of our apartment workers? Like, how does it work?
Practically speaking, well, I guess maybe I'll say technically speaking, we piloting in an hour.
We need this badly.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. I actually didn't realize that our product was so relevant to you. So I got to be started in an hour. Practically speaking, it's usually a couple of days, because we have to get your team comfortable hitting record. It's like yes, you have to download an app, make sure you log in, make sure you have your password, like know how the recording works. It's super simple, but when folks are running around like trying to hit their number, it's really easy to just totally ignore the software tools. That's one of the reasons why CRM hygiene is so messy. Okay, a few of your questions. Like how do you get started? How does this thing work?
Sure.
Like how does what it actually do? At the very minimum, like you turn it on and then you start getting value. And then there's additional stuff you can do on top both to better enforce and improve your process over time, and additional stuff you can do to add downstream value. Downstream value being things like a follow-up campaign. How do we automate email follow-up based on the contents of the recording? How do we make our data richer so that you, as you're trying to zoom out every quarter and think of strategy, how do you process the information from all those customer conversations to decide we actually need to change our offering, or we might need to strategically move the business or change our ICP, whatever. So there's downstream stuff you can do with the data, workflow stuff and strategic stuff. There's also like a lot of process stuff that we can talk about. But at the very baseline, when you get your team to start recording, performance just goes up. At the very, just the fact that people are being recorded, and they now, when you're being recorded, you'll sit up a little more straight.
Yeah.
And you'll watch what you're saying a little bit more. You're not going to be going through the motions the same way that you would if no one's watching. So right away you get that. People start caring a little bit more. Also, the AI just starts coaching. Like mid-conversation, Siro is catching details. And you're a commission-based salesperson. Like, of course you want to close the conversation. Of course you don't want to be awkward in front of your prospect. Of course you don't want them to get angry at you. So Siro is delivering, at the very least, generalized coaching, but the more context you give the system about your business, the more specialized it gets. And the more you have reps in the system, the more you learn from that. So there's sort of turnkey coaching, but then on top of that, depending on how robust your sales process is, you can have Siro score against it. So you did a conversation, afterwards it shows the rep, the SDR, here's how you did on process. You forgot to mention that we have this financing option, or you forgot to mention when they were comparing you against this alternative competitor, like our core differentiator, you missed it. And then at the leadership level for you or your sales management, you can see that in aggregate across people and over time.
How do you view the future of Siro? I mean, for example, the OpenAI listening device or the friend necklace that might no longer be around. Like, do you view it as in-person sales? The company gives you a device and Siro is a platform partner with that device. Is it a Siro device?
Yeah. I don't think the hardware matters. If people have phones, use the phone. Yeah. If you have cameras we have a lot of retail customers. If you have a camera there recording the audio, like great, we'll use that. Or if you want to use a phone, you can use a phone. Mm-hmm. Or if you are comfortable with hardware, you got Apple Watches or whatnot, it's like use the hardware. I don't think the mode of recording matters much. What we're trying to do is be the best in the world at processing that audio and delivering value back to the individual, the management layer, and the company, the leadership.
I mean, it's the data you must have in in-person sales, like the insights you can derive. I'm curious, what are some of the most interesting takeaways or tidbits of improvement that you come across most often?
In aggregate, it's really not that interesting. It's like the basics. Like the basics move the needle. But there are some like really cool anecdotes of like, oh my gosh, like this person changed this one thing and like 10% improvement, like a 10-point improvement in close rate. Like you went from 30 to 40% close rate, like from doing that one little thing.
For individuals listening that do in-person sales, what would you recommend they do to improve their close rate?
Use Siro.
Use Siro, of course.
Well, because I think a lot of the coaching is, follow your process, reflect on your performance. If I was to sort of abstract Siro out, it's like follow your process and reflect on your performance. And if you don't have Siro, find a way to record yourself and listen back. Like that's how you get better. That's how athletes get better. Like that's how you get better is with some sort of accountability and feedback system. One interesting story though, just to show like the level of like, for different people can be very different things. This like great anecdote from a customer who they sell baths. It's like you go into a home and you've got an old shower. You want to install a new shower. And this woman was in the home selling to this customer who was just like not engaging. A lot of just like one word answers, kind of like, yeah, fill out the form online. Like you're here. I just want a price. A lot of like not really engaging. And sales rep's like, yeah, we lost this deal, but I said I'd go out and get a proposal. So goes out to the car, checks Siro for the halftime report because Siro's listening, and gives her some feedback. And she's like, hey, what should I do? I think I lost this deal. And the feedback it was really funny. It was like, ask her what will make her happy. It's like, whatever. Like, what do I have to lose? Goes back in, asks the customer, like, all right, what would make you happy? And like, oh, I actually want this. It's like, I actually want like this all to be glass. And then it's like, oh, tell me more. And then like now she's opened up and it's like, wait a minute, why wasn't she just saying that from the start? Sometimes you have to ask them a question to get them to open up and close the deal. But it's like, that was a deal that was totally written off as like, we're clearly misaligned with the stuff I'm trying to offer. Did this like tiny little thing, one stupid question, open it up, deal closed.
Super interesting. So me and you are both similar. You to a much greater extent. You have 105 team members, all in New York City, and over the past year, you doubled in headcount. Walk me through just like the archetype of the individual you look for when you hire.
The archetype of the individual we look for, let me think. We have our values, which we sort of live by pretty strongly, our 6 values.
What are your 6 values?
We've got our newest one is own your impact. But our other ones are empower the rep. We're a very sort of sales rep first company.
Sure.
Our purpose statement is to make in-person sales the most successful path to financial freedom. So empower the rep. The other sort of 3 that are sort of similar, but there's raise the bar, find a way. Raise the bar being like be excellent. Mm-hmm. Find a way being like the like bust through walls. And then we before me is the teamwork one. And then I'm missing the focus on what matters, which is finite resources. You have to focus. We evaluate all candidates against our values as we go through the interview process. So that's one commonality. Is there anything unique beyond the values?
Any pet peeves when hiring?
I've got a few.
For me, it's if you don't, I don't care who the individual is, and engineers are much worse at this than anyone else. But if you don't follow up after a meeting, it's just, I'm sorry, it's not a fit.
Interesting. Do you make sure everyone has your email, or is that part of the challenge? Like you got to find.
No, I everyone has my email.
Right. Okay, nice. That's a good one. I do hate when people do like cold inbound. Like they're like, hey, I'm trying to get past your recruiter. People message me directly. I love the hustle, but then they'll find my email. They'll reach out to me, but it'll just be like such a low effort shot. Mm-hmm. It's like you're not putting any. You're saying all these things about how you want to be our product marketer and like the incredible things you've done, but you've given 0 ideas about how you could be a good product marketer at Siro. So like I love the creative outbound, but then if you're not pairing it with like, you're putting all the effort in to find me and get in my inbox and get my attention, but then no effort in the message, that's a big pet peeve of mine for the outbound thing.
As you scale, you doubled your headcount over the past year. What have you done internally to make sure you maintain the same ethos and culture fit as you scaled?
Yeah, I think we've actually done a really good job with this. I think we have a lot of things that have made it easy, and we probably got lucky in a few places. Having defined values was something that I thought was really stupid, and like what a waste of time. I was pushed to do it when we were like a 2-person company. Yeah. And this program I was going through, Grand Central Tech, it's in New York, sort of, what is it? Like they sort of incubate startups, but it's not really like you don't really pay or they don't take equity, but they just let you work from their office for a year. Anyway, but they also pushed us to define our values. So we did it, and that's actually been fantastic for us as we've grown. A common vocabulary with which we can talk about things that we want to retain and cultivate in the business. We're also in person, which just makes it way easier. Like the culture is at the all hands when we're all sort of around in one spot. Like you have so much, you get so much goodwill when you're spending time with people, and it's a time when you have everyone's captivated attention to do whatever cultural things you want. So like we'll celebrate like the MVP on our SDR team. We will do values shout outs at the end of every all hands that are submitted by people across the team, shouting out, Jack for own your impact because he like went above and beyond on some feature that was like too big to put on the roadmap in the near term, but like found a way to build it really quickly over the weekend, that kind of stuff.
So you raised a massive round. In total, you've raised over 75. As you scaled, how do you think about in-house talent versus recruiters?
in-house recruiting versus
in-house
third party.
recruiting versus third party.
We've used a lot of third party recruiters. We have paid a lot of money to third party recruiters, and we got phenomenal people from third party recruiters. So we've done it at the executive level, the IC level, the junior level, the senior level. I think it's a necessary evil, and I say evil because they're so freaking expensive.
So expensive.
Like at the end of the day, what's my alternative? So that's the market sets the rate.
Yeah.
Now we have an incredible in-house talent team, which I think does a better job. We have a really strong offer to close rate. So we close 89% of people who get an offer because our recruiters are able to sell our company, the culture. They embody the values themselves because we carefully selected our recruiters. So they are able to transfer a lot more of our like vibe to a candidate. And then also they can just run a more like a faster, more seamless process because they know everyone in the company.
Yeah.
So like I've got an interview at 8 p.m. tonight. And it's like, oh, I couldn't get on your calendar, but we're like trying to move fast on this guy. So I'm going to call it 8 p.m. Yeah. A third party recruiter, it's harder to push your client. And be like,
they have their own process versus like this process is built around you and your company. Do you still use third party recruiting?
We still use a few for sourcing. We've been like weaning off for the last 6 months.
Yeah. It's surprising to me how many companies complain about their talent and don't use third-party recruiting. We've spent over $1 million in third-party recruiting. It's the best money we've ever spent. It is disgusting. Like because it's such a lump sum that you have to pay. And there's really like outside like maybe an upfront payment for a software solution. Like this is a payment, like a large lump sum you have to make.
One of the largest line items you'll see.
Yeah, 100%. But the company, our company, and every company is built around the people, and the people make or break the company. You could have the best absolute fucking idea in the world, and if you don't have like a good team, like it can't even be 2 or 3 people on the team. Like the large majority of the team needs to be exceptional to make the company successful, and that comes down to the people.
Completely agree.
So when did you raise your most recent round?
Spring of last year, spring of 25.
So something I've always been curious about is like source of funds and use of funds. And as we kind of gear up to a potential round in the future, it's always like, hey, how much should you raise? And like, what would you do with, like, sure, there's uses of capital for a certain amount of money, but like, what's the balance between, hey, like, let me use this for engineering, this for R&D, let me use half of it for reserve capital. How'd you think about it, and how'd you come to the numbers? Is this something that you just knew this was the right amount? Did you reach out to people in the space? Like, hey, how do you use this capital?
I think it depends on the round. What's round you're talking about?
Your most recent. Most recent round.
So for our most recent, like we've got a shout out to our director of finance. We have an incredible model of our business. Like we basically model being like a playground to like say, well, what if we think salespeople close this much a year? And what if our sales cycle looks like this? And what if salary increases by this much year over year? All the different inputs, and we can look out and see what are our core KPIs, what's our cash balance, what's our revenue at, and we basically just used that. It's like, well, this is where the business is today, or this is our balance sheet. This is where we want to get, and like these are some assumptions we think are reasonable. And then you can sort of do a bit of, well, if we take a little bit of cash, we'll have to raise sooner. I'd rather be able to wait for at least this long before we raise. Prove out XYZ parts of the business. So therefore we should raise at least this much, like increase the cash balance by XYZ amount. So our model made it a lot easier to at least have a clearer decision, simplify the decision down to just a few parameters. Like, well, if we believe that these are the best assumptions we have about our business, this is probably how long I want to have before the next raise, because we're probably going to have to prove XYZ thing about our business, prove that we can scale into multiple verticals, prove that we can make salespeople this effective. Yes, our existing sales team crushes, but can we hire more and make them repeatedly successful?
For those that aren't familiar with the fundraising process, how does it work? Do you go to your last lead? Hey, like this is my number. Name a number. Do you make a market? What's the process like? Do you enjoy? And first off, do you enjoy the process?
No, I definitely don't enjoy it. But when it's easy, it's incredible. It's like, oh, what a stressor that is now done. And like, it's behind us. Now we've got this cash to be able to, one less problem to worry about.
Sure.
But no, it's a lot of work, and it's work that's like not building the business. It's like, it can feel like you're screwing around. It's like, you're going like, getting drinks with an investor. You're like talking to all these people who are not going to buy your product. It's like, what are you doing? So it does feel like a waste of time, a necessary evil. What I learned about the process, a few like tenets that I got from the Alchemist Accelerator that we went through, a few of my advisors and friends who have gone through YC, which I think is also very good at teaching people how to fundraise. You make a market, you got to do that. You don't want to have one investor, two investors. Like you need to have multiple horses in the race, and you want to set out a certain amount of time and make it as condensed as possible. Can you do a raise in 2 weeks is like ideal, 2 to 4. At later stage, maybe it's more like 4. That's the ideal amount. Get as many investors as you know can get warmly connected to and you think would reasonably invest, and talk to them all in a short amount of time, because what you don't want to happen is someone to catch wind that someone else passed on your round, which inevitably happens. Because it's just like it takes a little bit of air out of the balloon.
So what's the process? Like what's the recommended process? Hey, like I gonna have start meetings this week, goals to pick a term sheet by the end of next week, and then how long does it take after that or is it fun by the end of the second week, or is it sign a term sheet by the end of the second week?
Oh yeah, rough. I mean, every round can be very different. Sure. From my experience, a few of our rounds went quite quickly, especially our Series A and B. And quite quickly is like anywhere from like 1 to 4 weeks from like a real conversation with someone to a term sheet. And then you'll often have like a few days realistically to sign a term sheet, maybe like a week. But if you let that drag, it's sort of weird and sours the relationship, and people wonder like, are we not your first choice? Like, are we going to be your backup? And it sort of sets the relationship off on the wrong foot. And then there's diligence afterwards where it's like, okay, well, we did like the rapid saw your numbers and we confirmed, but now we need to make sure you're not a fraud. And then it's like, well, let's look at some of your contracts. Let's look at, draft up all the documents. And that can be like 1 to 2 months, I think.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Very cool. Internally, as you scale the company, what AI tools do you use?
We are pretty heavily a Claude shop for now, at least. Got a little bit of beef now with, I found out that our Claude Enterprise plan is going to like 5x our bill, which is crazy. I don't know if you know this, but if you when you get to 150 licenses, you have to be on an enterprise plan. They cap you. And we modeled out the price because they changed you now have like the price changes. No, there's no longer usage included in the subscription. It's all API based. And we modeled out our usage, and it's like, this is literally going to 5x the bill, going from 149 licenses to 150 licenses, 5x.
They're also tricking you into using Fable, and Fable is the default now. Like you blow through the cap so easily.
Yeah. But I do love Anthropic, and I think as a business, they're pretty cool. But with our subscription we had that conversation earlier this week, and it's like, dang, that kind of sucks. We're going to have to explore alternatives. So we're a pretty big cursor shop, pretty good big Claude shop. We also, a lot of people are using OpenAI's products, some Gemini. I met a founder recently who's like all Gemini, which was crazy to me. We've used a bunch of different coding tools. Cursor's a big one. As
part of the sales motion, your sales team, what tools do you recommend as part of your GTM outside of Siro?
Our stack is HubSpot and Siro. That's most of it. We use Outreach as well for like our SDR workflow. And then we have a few things that we're always trying out on the, I got a recommendation for you. We have a few things that we're trying out on like the data enrichment, quality side, signals. Popple is another tool that I love. Shout out to them. I also think the founder's cool, and I love their company.
Jason?
Jason.
The card. Yeah, he's a great guy.
I like Jason.
I have one of those cards too. I got like the heaviest metal card that I just like is in my wallet. Rarely use it, but like it's a staple there.
Yeah, he's great guy, and they now have an events product, which is pretty sweet.
Interesting. How does that work?
At the end of the day, it's a badge scanner. If you put it simply, you're at a conference, like, oh, scan your badge, and we're talking, and like within 3 seconds, it's enriched your LinkedIn, what company you're with, how big is your company, all these fields, and it's incredible. I like it a lot.
They are so impressive for what I thought was the most competitive market of all time. Just the growth they've been having is ridiculous, and the partnerships they've been able to form and announce, super impressive. So, going to the last question, what do you want Siro to be 5 years from now?
5 years from now, Siro is product lens, impact lens, product lens. Siro is the AI interaction layer for in-person sellers. So anyone who's selling something in person, could be your team, could be home services, technicians, could be someone at the front desk of a med spa. It's like Siro is the thing that's the interaction layer between you and technology. It's taking notes for you. It's filling out the CRM for you. It's brief. It's telling you about customers. It's telling you what inventory there is. It's suggesting a proposal for you. Mid-conversation, you're talking with a prospect and you're just like, okay, well, I'm going to need to figure out how much this thing costs that they're asking for. You look down, Ciro's got it, right? Ciro is the window between you and the world, which is sort of how a lot of knowledge workers use Claude today. It's like, oh, what's our revenue? Like, let me ask Claude. It's connected to our spreadsheet. What is our, like, is this person a customer? Let me ask Claude. It's connected to HubSpot. It'll check. But that for sales, it's reading information and it's writing it back, which is so important in the in-person world because you're spending all your time on the go. You're not at a computer. It's just harder to interface with computers. Siro is going to make that easier because AI is really powerful and we've got this microphone and this sort of voice relationship that with our customers. So that's what it's going to be for salespeople. For businesses, it's a really cool impact when you have this going. But at the end of the day, the impact on society is in-person sales becomes a career that so many more people find success in. It's not like the 1% who's getting a lot of success and the 10% who's like doing well, but like most people who go into in-person sales should be able to make a lot more money than they are today.
In-person sales is growing, which is interesting.
It's growing. It's like I think it's extremely durable against AI disruption because AI is good at a lot of things. It's hard to bet against AI in any dimension, but I would bet against AI at getting people's attention and building trust.
And you're building the AI layer for in-person sales.
Exactly.
So one of our favorite quotes internally that we've been using is, this is the last company that you will build before AGI takes over. And what your in-person sales is like the last line of defense and
of humans having economic value.
Exactly. And you're building that AI lever for them. It's insanely impressive. I love the mission. It's been great getting to know you and thanks for the time.
Likewise. Thank you for the time.
This is awesome.